Hey guys, we're back. We just finished our section on the Industrial Revolution and what it was like living and working in this new industrial world with factories and money and new businesses. And so section 4 is going to introduce these new concepts. I'm sure some of them you've heard of: capitalism, socialism, communism. And these ideas or forms of government came about because of the Industrial Revolution and this inequality in wealth and in position. And if you take a look at the cartoon, the workers there are like, hey, what about us workers? Where do we fit in? We're the ones, working every day, the 9 to 5, and there's the guy with his hat and his glasses, kind of looks like the Monopoly man, and saying, you don't fit in. Like, what are you thinking? Like, you do the work, but I'm the one, reaping all the benefits from it. What do you think, Lobner?
Well said.
All right,
Yeah,
thank
so
you very much.
Rich are
We're
getting,
back in our groove here.
rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer, so new ideas for the way a government should run are going to come about.
Yeah.
So the first one we have is capitalism, and we have the concept of laissez-faire, which we've discussed before. The government should leave business owners alone so that more profits can be made. So if the government doesn't interfere, that means the factory owners can keep the wages really low. They can have unsafe working conditions, pretty much do whatever they want to make maximum profits.
Yeah, and when I think about it, I think of laissez, like lazy, kind of like the government not really doing much. It's French for let do, or let the people do as they please. So let those business owners do as they please, and eventually everything will sort of work itself out. But like you said, the downfall is the conditions and what are we doing to the workers.
That's right. So capitalism is the idea that an individual person has the opportunity to earn as much money as they can or as little, and the government doesn't really interfere in what is made and produced and sold, things like that.
We talked about that. That any one of you can own a business as long as you have the idea and the money to start the business. You can do it. Whether it's a success or not is up to you.
That's right. So you want to explain the cows?
Sure. So there's this idea, very simple, using cows. So the idea of capitalism can be explained. You have 2 cows, you sell one of them, and you buy a bull. And so why buy a bull, Mr. Lobner?
I don't think we can talk about that.
Oh, I know. Is it inappropriate? Well, in order to make more cows, you need a male and a female. So instead of having 2 males or 2 females, if you have one of each, now your cows can produce more cows, which means more milk, which means more cow products, beef, and now you start making money.
But they have to be married first.
Oh, yes.
We have socialism, where the factors of production are now owned by the public and operate for the welfare of all. So the government will run the big industries, and the idea is they'll set the prices fairly so the poor people or the lower class does not suffer.
Yeah. I think of socialism like social. Think of like everybody kind of hanging out and being semi-equal, or trying to be as equal as possible.
So countries today like Canada and most of the European countries, they are socialist nations.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard that term before.
Maybe.
So socialism with cows, you have 2 cows, the government takes one and gives it to your neighbor. So the government is there sort of regulating business and trying to make things sort of standard or equal among all of the people.
Nice.
Yeah, the 2 cows look happy.
When do they cow tip?
At night.
That's
how they rebel. Yeah.
We have Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, who co-wrote the Communist Manifesto.
Which I had to read in college.
Lucky.
8 a.m. Yes.
That's
Introduction to Communism. It was actually pretty good. But
poor Engels never gets any credit.
No,
People
he
always
doesn't.
talk about Marx.
Yeah.
But the idea is the workers are struggling considerably. They're just getting poorer and poorer, and the factory owners are getting richer and richer. So how about the idea where everybody is free? No rich class, no lower class anymore. Everybody's the same. Everybody's
classless, society. And we've mentioned that. I think you probably said it in the French Revolution. The haves and the have-nots, and the bourgeoisie. They're mentioned again, and trying to eliminate all of that inequality.
So Marx called the workers the proletariat, and the bourgeoisie was the upper class, which is a little different than the French term. So the proletarians have nothing to lose but their chains. They have a world to win. Working men of all countries unite.
Yes, and part of this section, guys, is talking a little bit about unions, which is a lot of fun. The workers coming together and uniting as one to try to fight, fight the bourgeoisie or the employers.
Many governments will be threatened by these communist groups, especially in the United States. We'll see it throughout Europe. And later on, the first communist country will be?
Let me see, Russia?
That's right.
Nice. So the future, according to Marx, this seems pretty simple. His idea is that capitalism will destroy itself. And how are they going to do that? So the factories, those big businesses, are going to destroy the small businesses. So someplace like Stop and Shop is going to put someplace like Oresco's out of business. The proletariat maybe are going to revolt, and they're, because they're going to be losing their jobs, and try to take over the factories and focus on what society needs and not what those employers, those managers want. The workers are going to share the profits, hopefully. That's why I put a little yay, and there will be economic equality, so everybody will get their fair share. And they called it the dictatorship of the proletariat, which I always found ironic because all of these chapters talk about getting rid of dictators, and yet they want this dictatorship or like rule by the workers. So classless society, everyone's pretty happy. What do you think?
That
What do you think,
sounds
Mr.
good to
Loebner?
me.
Sounds pretty good, right?
Let's do it.
So what it looks like with the cows, you have your 2 cows, but your neighbors help you take care of them, and then you all share the milk or whatever, the product is. And there's no government involvement at all. Everybody is on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah, those cows are pretty happy too.
So the concept of communism sounds nice, but
Yes, it does.
But the actual pure communism that Marx envisioned has never taken place. Anytime you have a communist government, the government does not leave, they just keep the power.
Exactly.
So it's a little bit different than this original concept.
It's almost like they take the idea that he had and use it to their benefit. So they'll say communism, but it wasn't his, pure idea of communism.
So we're not going to see this complete socialism where all the means of production are owned by the people and everything is shared equally. Maybe someday.
But not right now.
Probably not.
But a couple things to think about. Is utopia possible? We mentioned that, I think, was in the Renaissance or Reformation, I think. They said in utopia. So is that perfect place possible? Are humans good? Like, are we naturally good? Or do we naturally have a tendency to, be greedy and want, I know you're so greedy. He's trying to take a class from me, actually. But we'll talk about that later. Dictatorship of the proletariat. Isn't that what we've been trying to get rid of? This idea of a dictatorship, and then economics. Can we benefit everybody and, have the working men of the world united? Is every worker on the same page? What do you think, Loebner?
Well, I'm going to think about it over February break.
Nice. Have a good Valentine's Day.
You too. Oh, that's it. All right, people.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Do your homework.